So just before we get started and going through these different products and these processes, this is a lot of us is what we find best and what really works for us. So don't ignore the technical data sheets and always go through the technical data sheets if you're not sure. One of the other things you've got to really remember that's really important is that you make sure that you always do this and put this down, and then when you do that, and if you do that, you can't go wrong. The priming stage. This 1K product is suitable for your 2-pack system. So if you're using a different primer, that's okay. Just check your technical data sheets before you proceed. Otherwise, in summary for this 1K primer, just about 2 to 3 coats, allowing about 5 minutes between each coat. If you're wanting to put down more coats, that's okay. Maybe allow about 10 minutes between each coat, then leave it an hour or 2 to dry off before sanding. Now, I like to wet sand this particular primer as I find I get a better result. Using 800 grit wet and dry, a bit of soapy water, I find I get a nicer finish. Otherwise, if you're wanting to dry sand it with 600, that's okay as well. If you find that you need to repeat the process, go for it as well. Otherwise, we're ready for the color. Application of the primer is important. You really want to get it nice and smooth and nice and even. And rather than try and apply it haphazardly and expecting a good result, it's important to make sure it goes on well. So spraying it on where it's too dry, you're going to find it quite difficult to sand. And if you apply it where there's a lot of runs, again, you're going to find it quite difficult to sand. We do make a couple of assumptions. Again, at this stage, we assume that the panel has been cleaned thoroughly with wax and grease remover. Any surfaces that you intend to prime, a bit of 400 grit wet and dry, or the equivalent to dry is about 320, 240 dry. Any body filler, 240, 320 dry is okay. Just make sure you don't get any of the body filler wet with water or any solvent. Otherwise, a few issues can arise. You can always ask us about that later on. Otherwise, any of your etching primer, a bit of 800 grit is dry is okay before putting the primer over the top of that. And hopefully you're ready then for your color stage.
Yeah, make sure it's real glossy.